All right, truth seekers, listen, you're seeing their eyes. And I think for a split second, behind the face of a politician, a banker, a media titan, the mask slips, the pupil slit. You see the cold, ancient reptilian hunger staring back at you from the abyss. You call them archons, shapeshifters, the hidden lords of the cosmic prison. And then they've spent a millennia calling you crazy for seeing what's right and what's right in your face, too. They want you to believe that the cold dread in your gut is just anxiety and malfunction in your own mind. But it is the truest sense you have. It's your human soul screaming that you were born into a cage and that humanity is not the master of his own destiny, but livestock tended by parasitic wardens for a coming harvest. And for centuries, we've hunted for the truth in the shadows, piecing together the clues, the serpent gods in our oldest myths, the dragon bloodlines of royalty, the uncanny patterns of control strangling our world. But tonight, the hunt is over. The guessing game is done because I have allegedly their playbook, a leaked internal training manual, so to speak, written by them for them, but a step-by-step blueprint for the final solution to what is called a human problem. And this isn't a theory. This is their declaration of war, their methods of mass control, and their explicit end game for our extension laid bare in their own words. People, this is the ancient venom, digitized and weaponized. And tonight, I'm going to talk about it. So make sure you stick around for all of this. The war has been raging in the shadows. Now it's coming into the light. And this is a problem that we will have to instruct and get right into. And we will do that right after this.
Welcome to Truth versus Authority. I'm Roderick Martin, aka the Symbolizer, TV personality, UFO investigator, award-winning podcast host, backed by Truth Seekers, streaming right here on YouTube and reaching thousands of podcast listeners across 126 countries worldwide. Thank you for all the love and support. I'll keep bringing the truth. Get ready, because what you're about to hear, you may not believe it.
All right, so welcome to Truth versus Authority. Of course, I'm Roderick Martin. If you don't know that, just Google me and then hop back on, okay? But either way, we have an amazing conversation or monologue that I'm going to go into tonight. And if you ever been here or you're here for the very first time, you already know I go into what I call the reptilian agenda, okay? And this is probably going to be one of the only places that you will find a consistent conversation about this, and soon to have other people here testifying, sharing their experiences and everything else. But as that disclaimer that I have to use is just say, you know what, it's for educational purposes only, right? Okay, you figured it out. But anyway, I want you to know something. Our videos don't get a lot of reach because of our content. So I'm here at 8 o'clock. Okay, on Mondays. This is my schedule to give you a whole week to hear some of the stuff. You need to put this on your schedule, share it, or come here, whatever, set your alerts, because if you're just not in the loop, it'll phase you out. And what's happening in today's society, you don't want to get phased out. So the document that I'm going to be talking about is not a rambling manifesto. It is a corporate training manual, so to speak. It's the cold, systematic, and ruthless, efficient document recovered from a compromised server that they said during this massive data breach that was publicly blamed on a foreign state. The document designated internally as core doctrines. It's kind of like a planetary acquisition. It lays out a strategic plan of what I call a terrifying scope finality that is going to be happening. It's the operational playbook for an intelligence beyond our world, an ancient non-human consciousness that views our world not as home, but as the resource to be conquered, in some cases to take back. I will say we'll get into that a little bit, and the authors refer to them as Empyreans, but their symbology and their methods and their ultimate goal aligns perfectly with the figures that have hunted humanity's collective unconscious for a millennia. And those archons, those shapeshifters, those reptilian overlords. Now, like I said, for educational purposes only, you know, their grand objective is stated without ambiguity. It's just there. The complete and total seizure of planet Earth. The manual frames not as a war of choice, but necessity. that their own population is expanding in that it requires our world and the worlds beyond it for colonization. Now, we've always told that they're our number too. But also, I was reading deeply this book this weekend, and this is a must everybody needs to get. And it is without a shadow of a doubt, we are or have archons and reptilians in our midst. Okay. In fact, you could be one anyway, you know, and I know I'm rattling you already early this morning. This is not Sunday morning. This is not Roderick. This is not Monday Night Football. And you're already talking. Yeah, you could be a reptilian. All right. There are people today born with tails. Yes, today, Google it. All right. And they may call it some type of disease, but it's really, they're not confessing to the truth. There are people born with eyes. People can be breathing underwater. There's people out there right now with all kinds of stuff that they're just trying to label it disease instead of a confession to tie into the reptilian things. I mean, we got a reptilian brain. Okay, I'm just getting off the, I like to take these detours. But anyway, I got a grammar box over here. You already know the rules. You have unlimited access to the grammar box if you hear me pronounce something that it doesn't register with you. But if your consciousness pick it up because of the intelligence level that you possess and you understood what I said when I said or whatever, then it works. Just don't do the ego thing and put it in the chat, okay? And then over here is unlimited spelling letters or whatever. But humanity in this equation is not the rival civilization to be negotiated with. We are designated as a human problem, an infestation, an obstacle to be cleared. The manual's phase solution is in two phases, but I'm going to go deeper with my notes down here. Is designed nothing less than a complete and total wipeout. Now, phase one is codename elimination. Why not? Okay, that's the plan. The document describes a global synchronized extermination event, a single moment of coordinated destruction engineered to wipe out the whole human race if they wanted to. And this is not a mystic flood of our ancestors or a cleansing of the world by a disappointed God. This is a pest control operation. It is the cold, calculated logic and alien farmer clearing a field. And the manual speaks of mechanisms to be activated or infrastructures to be turned against its creators of precise planetary scale purge. The sheer psychopathy of this plan is matched only by its logistical brilliance, I should say, and that these reptilian strategists have studied our weaknesses for centuries. And this is the phase designed to exploit them, all right, and all at once. They just want to do it all. But listen, they know us. Why wouldn't they know us? Go do your research. Why wouldn't they already know about the human species? Why wouldn't they tap into the reptilian side of our minds and all of this stuff? And as you know and didn't know, I have a huge release that's coming, and it's called The Shadows of Deception. It's a guide. It's not even a book. It's going to tell you all of this reptilian stuff, how to tie it to conspiracies, how to see it in the people you may be standing with, the whole tendencies of it all. I've been working on this thing. It is a beautiful piece of art to do. Probably be one of the most hated things out there. All right. And yeah, it's going to be there. But where I'm going with this is do your homework and go back to the Bible. Go back to Enki Enlil. Go back to ancient civilizations. Go all the way back to the giants, the Nephilims, and the fallen angels. Wherever you want to start, it's going to lead back to us humans. There's no way to get around it. It's going to lead all the way back to somebody saying, let's create these slaves or create these people and let's do this. Because if you do the research and you still trying to wonder if shapeshifters and all this stuff exists, man, they are sexually compatible with humans based upon all of the stuff I've studied. I got every book you can think of, and I'll stand behind it and I will encourage you and I will test anybody. I don't care who it is, want to tell me that they didn't make men in their image of the likenesses of themselves. That's why we look like them. Okay, that's fine. I'm not throwing it out. I'm not trying to do another debate, all that crap. We already know how this sugar honey iced tea go. But following what I consider the great cold, phase 2 begins. They talk about colonization. The document outlines a 10-year decay period aligned planet's biosphere, process the evidence of our existence before the primary colonists arrive. But these colonists are not purebred reptilians. They're not. They are a bridge species, a slave race of their own design. The hybrids, the ones that I'm talking about. The manual provides a chilling specified biological or specific biological parameters, and they are engineered to be semi-human in appearance, standing about 6 feet tall, 8 inches tall. All right, so it's about almost 7, with a greener skin, some hair, and fully functional human senses, no scales. This is not a blending of the species, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You know, it's an erasure. It's to take this thing out. The hybrid is a hollow mockery of the human form, an uncanny vessel designed to occupy our cities, walk our streets, inherit a world cleanse of his original masters. And we think we were the masters too. There was a war out there. And this is the ultimate act of cosmic identity theft, replacing the authentic human soul with a genetically engineered placeholder. And you want to worry about AI. And that is something to worry about, by the way. It has a lot of things to worry about, to be honest with you. But how could such a plan be implemented? How do you prepare an entire species of 7 billion people for a synchronized wipeout? And the manual dictates or, dedicates a core module to the logistic nightmare of this, outlining the linchpin of the entire operation, the implant strategy, the crown jewel of control. And the text calls it, and it's a microscopic device, a bio-integrated chip to be implanted in every living human on the planet. Its primary function is terrifyingly simple, is to turn on the switch and you drop. On command, by the way, and the entire networks of implants is designed to trigger simultaneously. And we've seen it in a book. We've seen it in the movies. We see it in the movies. It's like, let's get people, get them used to it, right? Mass electrocution events out there, just wiping out the host instantly and globally. We've seen it in the Kingsman's, the phone goes off, everybody's battling or fighting. We've seen this. And the manual chillingly notes that the exact mechanism has already been tested on a captive populations, prisoners of war, animals from far beyond prying eyes to the public. They got places out there like that, people. And to achieve this goal of total implantation, the manual kind of gives the details of a campaign of a psychological warfare based on manufacturing consent. Let me stop right there. Manufacturing consent. See, there's a lot of stuff that's happening that people don't see it, but our greed and different things play into it. Like go into a cashless society. Oh yeah, invest in the crypto, invest in the digital currency. You've already seen the mark. I'm not into this church stuff. I'm not going to go talk about the mark of the beast, but it's digitized. They talk about that in a lot of books I've been reading. But anyway, you talk about crypto and all this stuff, and people are like, oh, it's the blockchain. When they do this, when everything can be converted to do this, do you know the power of that? The power of just turning you off? The power of you not accessing your whatever? Man, we need to keep the cash. That's the problem. We need to keep the cash around because you can't control it. But you can control anything digital. You don't make no mistake about it. But anyway, I'm just hyping tonight because I've been reading so much lately, studying so much, talking to so much that I'm like, this is real. Somebody need to code red. Who ordered the code red? Who ordered the code red? That's the statement I want to make. You get what I'm saying? Because it is just that real. And I know everybody be talking, Roderick, want the truth. And I would love to tell you that, you can't handle the truth. Why not? Well, don't let me say it. Let Jack say it.
You can't handle the truth.
All right, so that's it. People can't really handle it. They want what they want, but they can't handle it because, all right, let me get back on track. The 2 primary paths are outlined. I take these detours. But the first is the financial approach. I was just talking about this systematic phasing out all physical currency, beginning with the euro. This will be followed by engineer normalization of credit card fraud and pens being abandoned and the reimbursement for theft becoming nearly impossible. See, the chaos and insecurity of a cashless, fraud-riddled society would be the leverage used to present the implant as secure, the way to protect one's assets. See, they do that all the time. And David Icke tells you it's problem, reaction, solution. They're going to create a problem, we're going to react to it, and then the solution is given, but it was already predicated by the problem that they had already designed, because we're that type of society. Everybody's reacting to everything. That's all we do. We operate in the shadows, the unconscious, collected unconscious that we need to get out of. Integrate it. I'm sorry. Don't kill it. It'll bleed me. Just integrate it, to understand it, to control it so it doesn't control you. And as you know, we're going deeper in that in our shadow stuff, okay? And when I release my guide in about a week or so, only a few people are going to have access to it, because I can't save the world. All right, the loyal people, I know you watch me, all of y'all do, but I appreciate you Patreon folks and the people who are supporting the Dallas meetups. Then that's fine. I can help that. And I'm gonna I have to use Amazon, so the thing will be there, but it's gonna be priced so high. It's gonna be like, who's gonna pay you a couple $100? Because I don't want you to buy it. I just only want people to get access to it who really, truly understand what we're up against. And I'm saying not you, but when you do get there, you know where to find us. So the second and preferred path of this identity approach, this is involved the rollout of mandatory national ID cards. They just started doing it already. Designed to replace all other forms of identification, passports, driver's license, social security. These cards will be intentionally designed to be inconvenient, easy to lose, with a long bureaucratic delays for replacement. And once the population is sufficiently frustrated, the implant comes in. Problem, reaction, solution. It'll be covered as a seamless, convenient alternative. And through manufactured friction of one system, the populace will be herded to sheep, frictionless prison of another. And the reptilian agenda do not require brute force if it can achieve its goals through calculated inconvenience, controlling here. They don't need to. They don't have to come in those spacecrafts that everybody think is going to come in and drop ray guns and be marching in big whatever. They do it here because they understand us. And why? Go do your research. They might have said we built them in the lab, them roaches, and you're not a roach, but you get what I'm saying. They grew to 5 billion. We did, because remember, we weren't able to procreate. One of them, and go back and pick up the story, decided that, you know what, we need to get them humans something else. And they gave us one of what you got and what I got. I'm talking to a woman, and then a man, what I have, and they gave you what you have. And somehow those two things fit in the puzzle. And when they fit in the puzzle, sparks happen. And if you know, when that happened, it's really true light and sparks, right? And from those sparks became, I'm not here to teach that tonight. That is not who I am. You can go get the birds and the bees somewhere else. I get it. You know what I'm saying? But their plan was methodically and patient and diabolical. It moves into the shadows of our own systems, turning our desire for convenience and security into a very chains of our own destruction. And this is the world that they're building, and this is the context for the war we're already in. And if you think we're not, you got to need to prepare yourself, and you want to be ready. But anyway, with that being said, it is a beautiful moment for that to talk about one of our sponsors for our event is Phoenix Fire. The products there are amazing. And the website is phoenixfirejuju.com. And when you start thinking about the word juju, you're like, what is that? Well, let me tell you what it is. This woman will specifically, if you get in contact with her, make you a specific product. In fact, I'm a Pisces, if you didn't know them. Birthday is March the 10th, put it on your calendar. And somehow emotionally, internally, or whatever, a lot of stuff goes through our feet. And so I got to try some of these bath salts. And then, unbeknownst to her, that I study more the reptilian stuff and talk about the shadows, and I get this black charcoal soap. And I had to call up this weekend. I said, listen, I know I get into the bath, but this thing is working. And she said, it is not only clearing the shadow, especially for you men. We're talking about a soap designed with intention to go into the cosmic world of the parasitic world. People, go to the website. It's down here. She sponsors our Dallas meetup events, and I'm standing by it. And then also this protection oil and stuff that she has. And I just want to thank her. So give her a shout out for supporting our show. Now, the document that I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit, and to understand what I call the reptilian agenda, one cannot think purely political or military terms, okay? This thing kind of reveals the strategic rooted in what I call manipulation of the cosmic and psychological laws. And there's two-phase plan, like I said, elimination and colonization is not merely genocide. It's not none of that. It's just a form of dark planetary alchemy. These people are not playing. In the ancient alchemic traditions, the Greek work of transformation begins with stage known as nigredo, right? The blackening, you know what I'm talking about? The purification. It was the process of dissolving a substance down to its chaotic first matter, the primer material, so that it could be remade into something new, something higher. So phase one is the global extermination event. It's the archons planetary nigredo, right? It's an artificial, violent dissolution of human civilization, a force to descend into chaos and death engineered to reduce our world to a blank slate upon which they can build their own. And when you start studying it, they're pissed off. They are really pissed off at us. And I'm going to tell you why they're so mad at the human species. And we have a lot to do with, right? Because if you studied fallen angels, if you studied all of the stories and myths and everything else, well, there was a war. And some of them got kicked down here for messing with you all, from some of you beautiful women out here, the daughters of men. And since we are sexual compatible, and we are with the reptilians, you better believe it, then they was like, well, let's just do this thing. I can take anyone of I want. I can seduce anyone I want. You know, we can just do it, and we're going to make some babies. Now, I can't tell you they all came out looking like me, but I will tell you that there are some that looks like them and some that don't, and it just stirred the whole pot. And then the man upstairs got ticked off to the highest of tickstivity, right? He's like, I ain't down for that. Who told y'all to go violate that? Who told y'all to go down there and do what you're doing, blah, blah, blah. So you know what? Just stay down there and go underneath and blah, blah, blah. So now they ticked off. And then everything goes in. All right, I'm just giving you kind of a storytelling moment. You know, like we're sitting down in the room and we're just telling a night story. That's all I'm doing. I'm just telling you a storytelling moment. That's all I'm trying to do is tell you a storytelling moment. A telling moment, right? And so, listen, when I first read that, I saw it, right? I saw the alien logic. They aren't trying to unalive us. That's not what they're doing. They're trying to unmake our reality. It's a ritual. They're dissolving the world chemically and physically. But this isn't for spiritual rebirth. It's for a hostile takeover. This isn't the work of a philosopher seeking gold. It is the cold cosmic machinery of the ultimate, listen, Saturnian archetype. It's Saturn. It's Cronus. Not as the harsh teacher, but as the pure devourer of his children, the embodiment of time, death, and absolute final ending. That's exactly what it is. Go look it up, Saturn. Saturn is 100 times bigger than Earth. Everything supposedly happened. Okay, so now, just by now, you should probably get the interpretation that all of this is connected. The Bible, religion, astrology, alchemy, cosmology, or whatever you want to call it, ancient civilizations, underground civilization, serpent wisdom. And if you want to learn some stuff about the serpent wisdom, this big $100 book, Be Wise as a Serpent. That one, you know why they put that out? They should just, I think everybody should read it and now understand why everybody don't get the information. Because if information costs, we want as much free information as we can. So, and I'm saying that I'm going to be the first to really tell you the truth. I give you enough that I can so that I stay above the water and you are able to see me on Mondays or whenever I do this live stream. But if we can talk about it in private, in our private areas, because they don't care about 20 or 30 people listening to whatever. Now, if we were reaching millions in that Patreon or our private area, that's not going to happen. We don't, they don't think the 30 or 50 people know, but you can use it to save your family, change your destiny. You can do all that stuff. So I encourage you, because I'm telling you, there's people getting wiped in mind every day, and they are some of the smartest people on the planet, and they're living in the plan, and they don't even see it. I telling you, there's some intelligent people who are falling prey to their very system of the mind. And these people are good at it because they know who we are. And if you don't think I'm knowing, if any of you with children right now, I don't care if you got 3 kids, 2 kids, 1 kid, well, it have to be 2 or more to go along with this story. But if I came into the room and said, one of your kids said this, you will know exactly who said it. I don't even have to tell you. I'll just say, this is what one of the kids said. Oh, yeah, I know that was little John John. Because you know you created them. You primed them, and just as much as they've done it to us. So their end game isn't transformation. It's termination of the mind for sure. It's termination of the mind without a shadow of a doubt, people. And following this engineered apocalypse comes to what I call the colonization phase, marked by the arrival of the hybrids. Let me check the chat tonight, because we are live, and I know y'all be talking to yourself. They ain't got long. It's been visionary, China, husband. Okay, all right. Thought the reptilian was ordered off the planet. Yeah, right. They might be ordered off the planet, under the planet, right, Slim? But they still got agents. They still got minions. You know what I'm saying? They still controlling a lot of stuff around here, So that's what they're doing. Someone said there's no reptilians, actually us humans, that has created this. All right, well, stick around. And I want you to go read. I can give you 20 books to read, and one in particular. Start with this one and make sure you read it all the way through, and then come back to the show so that we can hear about that, right? Because that is what they want us to think. The greatest trick is to say they don't exist, but we should know that they exist. The Bible says that they exist. The Bible says that there was some shiny people. The Bible said that there was one Cain and Abel, and the other son was part reptilian. The Bible said that there was some breeding. The Bible said there was some breeding going on, and there was some people that didn't look like, we look like them, but even Moses and Noah, all of them had problems showing their reptilian side. Go look that stuff up. Go understand that there's people today still born that way. Go look it up and know that when you start thinking of whether you want to talk about Sophia or you want to talk about Lilith or whatever the stories, they all kind of link back to that this planet wasn't always what it was. The planet had water and it was cloudy, and it was a perfect haven for those pesky whatever. And so therefore, wherever they came from at the time. But again, they needed some slaves, and there was some type of human walking around here. We already know that. So go look it up, is all I'm saying. And then we'll just kind of go from there. We'll just kind of go for there. So do you want just to make us mindless? Yes, absolutely, L. Crouch. That exactly is the game plan. If they can make you not mindless slaves, but obedient to what you think is reality, then the game is won. So that is the true key of what is happening, right? And that's it. Yeah, and so they do that. And someone says, remember the movie They Live? Yeah, I'm with you. There are some type. We're going to go deep in that, okay? We're going to keep going deep as we continue. So let me continue my monologue, and then I'll do some dialogue. We'll be here a little late tonight because tomorrow I'm going to Vid Summit, and Vid Summit is like a YouTube conference, but they're here in Dallas, so I'll be going Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Can't wait to learn some more stuff, be around some other YouTubers and everything else, but we will do that. But anyway, like I said before, they're talking about the arrival of the hybrids, and these manuals that I'm talking about has kind of like some description of these taller than humans with greener skin, semi-human human features, yet born of the reptilian matrix. And it's kind of funny because, man, I wish I had the book, but that was one of David Icke's first book, was The Global Matrix. And of course, this evokes an ancient and persistent mythological fear, the fear of the counterfeit and the changeling, the uncanny double. We've seen it in all these movies. The specified greener skin is profound symbolic inversion. And it's not the green of the green man archetype of nature's vibrant regenerative force we're talking about here. It is a sickly green of a swamp of decay, right? The beings that fester in the dark. That's what it is. And why not? Because they can't walk among us looking the way they do. But if we're here, then you're talking about the act of creation is perversion of the sacred alchemy marriage to, and I'm finna butcher this word. So now this is the grammar box. I think it's like Cononostia or something. C-O-I-N, right? U-N-C-T-I-O. I can see the word in my mind, so I can spell it. But this is kind of like a Carl Jung, them, they talk about this thing. It's the true, that word is represented by the hexagram, the seal of Solomon, symbolizing the perfect fusion of opposite, heaven and earth, fire and water, male and female. Some say as above, so below, but no, that's not it for that one. But to create the balanced, integrated whole. And so the reptilian hybrid, however, is the product of a sterile technological parody, right, of its sacred union. And it's not a reclamation of the opposite, but the forced merging of stolen genetic material with alien consciousness. That's what it is. It's a soulless vessel, people. A Gnostic nightmare, if you want to go that route, right? Counterfeit humanity, designed by a cold-blooded demerge, if that's what you want to say, to populate a, dead world. Yeah, we just kind of go there. But I'm glad y'all having some great conversations in that chat. What's going on, Lillian? Y'all having a great conversation in the chat. That's what I'm talking about. See, the linchpin of this operation is the implant strategy, the plan to mark every human on Earth. Symbolically, this is the ultimate act of Saturn or Satyrian control. It is the technological manifest of the black cube of Saturn. The archetype material entrapment, systematic control, and the binding of spirit into fixed measurable form. The kill switch is what they would call it. It could be what they call the Sith of Cronus, the harvester of time and unalive or death, is what they call it. Digitized and made global. That's what they're talking about doing.
I want to thank everybody who's got your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets. I've been getting incredible reviews on people and how this has been helping people today. This is something that you must have in your arsenal. This book is going to be life-changing for you. It's a downloadable copy, so you'll be able to print it up, print a sheet up, or whatever you want. Study, take it to work, give it to someone, and maybe some in particular information. But this is something that you need in your arsenal. Go to the website. The link is right here in the description. It's also in the video as well. You got to get your copy of the Book of Sacred Secrets. And once again, it supports the community. True information is from the cosmos, from infinite consciousness that you need to learn and you need to have in your arsenal. I want to thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget, again, search for Roderick Martin. Come over to the YouTube channel so we can keep getting this information out. Thank you very much.
And the plan is simple, is to turn the human body from a temple of soul into a prison cell with a remote control lock, awaiting a signal from its unseen executioner. That they can do that. And they can do that. All right, I know that this is not, so if you got kids, you don't want to watch this show tonight. Please do not. Please do not have them to watch this show tonight. I'm just so sorry. Santa Rod or Uncle Rod, whatever you want to call me, whatever, I'm not baby daddy, but you get what I'm saying. They don't need to watch this, people, because we're not talking about fantasies and fairy tales. We're not talking about Santa Claus and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and Abominable Snowman. We're talking about some real stuff that they parents you should be open-minded to. And I've always tell you, the mind is like a parachute. It only works best when it's open. Open it. That's all. That's all I'm saying. And again, I saw how they were selling us the cage. A lot of you see how they're selling us this cage. A lot of you feel that you're in a cage. A lot of you understand exactly, or you're suspicious enough to what I'm talking about. And if you are suspicious, put it in the chat. Let me know I don't stand here by myself. I'm going to teach you how to defend yourselves. I'm going to just go on out. At the sake of whatever, I'm going to start teaching you all what to do, okay? And then I'll teach deeper stuff in areas that we can do. But let me know if you put in a chat in here, if you, okay. Shinobu Box says you feel it. Someone else says suspicious. I know for a fact. That's what I'm saying. I'm not by myself. Come on, let me know I'm not by myself, because they will call me crazy by myself. They will say, why are you watching that crazy dude by myself? Because I'm the only one up here talking right now, right? But if they look in the chat and the other you's like, no, we with you, or you get it, blah, 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 then they know that we're truth seekers. And if you're a truth seeker, I'm only asking for you to respond. I ain't, I'm just asking for support. It's, just a supportive arms, That's all I'm saying. BB said, all right, you ain't nuts. And he said, we ain't nuts either. We got them, but we ain't. Right, brother? Yeah. So anyway, I saw how they were selling us this cage, okay? The manual lays out a classic bait and switch using archetypal power of Mercury against us. Mercury, or Hermes, if you think about it, is the god of commerce, exchange, communication, and movement. His energy, if you think about it, connects the world through networks. And the reptilian plan is to corrupt this very energy, to create chaos in the mercurial domain of finance, a cashless society filled with fraud, and then offer their Satyrian prison, the implant, as the solution. And then they hijack the speed and convenience of Mercury to serve the limitation. And finally, or I would call it a grand finality of Saturn. It's a spiritual con artistry, of the highest order. These people are smart. They ain't stupid. And they got other people behind it making money doing it. So the first thing they do is throw you out there some money. Oh, I'm going to make some money. And you're going to make some money, you're going to fall in line with it. And then you're going to put everything you own in it. And then they're going to snap it. And then they're going to be like, we got them. We got them. We have them. And that's how they're going to roll. This manual's most secret and terrifying sections detail their war on consciousness itself. It describes a spirit prison designed to trap the human soul. This includes an energetic net placed over chakras and planetary force field and a frequency fence, and to prevent souls from ascending after they pass away. And this is the direct technological inversion of humanity's most sacred symbols, the world tree and the axis, the mundi. You know what I'm talking about, right? The world tree, known as the Durasso in the Norse myth of Sibyl trees to the Maya. If I'm pronouncing it right, it's the cosmic axis that connects us all realms, the heavens, the earth, the underworld. That's why you can see the roots, the underworld, the heaven, and the earth. I did a whole video about that. It's the shaman's ladder. It's the soul's pathway. They're saying and not too many people even want to get there. But I got a plan. I've been working on it, and I'm going to go on out with it, and we're going to do it. In fact, real quickly, I was in Houston this past weekend. This is a detour, so if you want to hop off, you can. I'm just going to tell a quick story. I was in Houston this weekend at Brother Joseph's Tribal New Life event. Beautiful. Beautiful. He had his tribe there, others there. They're doing their lectures, and they're learning, and they're listening. And, we're doing some stuff like that here in Dallas, and, we're doing our monthly stuff. And he had all the support. Our events are free. And now that we're growing and we're looking for we have a bigger place that we're moving to, and this will accommodate our guests too, because it's going to be like at a hotel thing. And then our guests can stay in the rooms. But we got to figure something out. The cost is climbing. And it's not something that I'm like, okay, fine. I did say that we wanted to get some founding members. But I watched his group support this thing for 100 people. And they all was just working in unison. And of course, I'm there because me and him were like this, it's my brother. And I'm like, okay, I'm going back home with a mission. Now we don't have a tribe, but we'll start our founders group and we'll act like we're one for now. And we're gonna grow this thing. I talked to Billy Carson. I was on the phone with Billy Carson, right in Egypt, he was, just let me know how much fun they having. And I told him, he says, you know what? I can show you the text. He said, I'm coming to your meet and greets in Dallas. But you know what I'm going to do? Only our faithful people that's been coming is going to know when those dates are, because we might as well learn that knowledge. Otherwise, people just show up. They don't know shit because they don't care about what we're trying to do. But other than that, we have to do something at the door or something. I don't know. I'm going to get out to my boy, Doc B. He'll come. I'm going to talk to my sister, Aaron Lyons. I'm going to call everybody we know and bless them and say, hey, come down and give our organization, our small meet and greets, the stuff that you can't say out loud. And I'm telling you, we're doing that already. So be ready. Be ready. But anyway, other than that, we do need some supporters. If you want to be one of our supporters and support our mission, there's a right there at the top. There's a barcode. It'll take you over to our Cash App. You can give a donation, put your name and number if you want to be part of our founders group and help us build each month. And then you invite it to the groups, because when Billy and a lot of them come down, we'll have like some dinner afterwards. Only our founders will be going to that. I don't care. You travel 20,000 miles, thank you for coming. But if my founders, we will have private places and stuff, and we can go deeper into our stuff. And not just him, everybody, right? So we're going to build this thing because it is necessary, people. It's necessary. All right. So anyway, that's our Cash App code there. We do need your support. We want to live stream it, but we need some switchers and some other stuff. If you want to help out with that, then okay, we will bless you for helping us out with that. And then we can live stream some of this stuff if you can't come. So you're a part of that. You know what I'm saying? And we can do that too. But I'm telling you, we're moving in a direction that they don't want us to move in, but it's necessary because this world is changing and you better get ready to it, because again, they're after everything. They're connecting. They're trying to take us out from a tree. Like I just said, they're connecting all the realms, as you know this tree does. And it's the same thing as I have over here, our protected symbol, the water, the fish. The fish can go to the underworld. He can come back and forth. That's another story. But this is the shaman's letter, the soul's pathway to divine that they're after. And the reptilian frequency fence is a perversion of the archetype, and it's in the artificial world. It's an artificial world tree that doesn't connect to realms, but to several them. And it is a prison wall built around the planet to ensure consciousness remain trapped in a closed loop forced reincarnation. Yes, I just said it. And a perfect escapable ambrose. We already know the snake thing is regeneration, rejuvenation. The ambrose, right? The serpent eating his own tail for eternity. The sacred information of that exists. You can get caught in that loop. And some of you are caught in that loop. Yeah. And if you, and I think now when you go, people say you come back to learn the experience that you don't know. You come back because you didn't know no better and you came back. You get what I'm saying? At some point, you probably get to the point and say, I don't need to go back there. Nah, they ain't playing fair. Because see, when I read their plan to alter the Akashic records, I finally understood the true depth of this war. I said, they're going deep. They're waging a war on the collective unconscious itself. Carl Jung describes the collective unconscious as an inherent psychic substrate common to all humans and the wellspring from which all myths, symbols, spiritual instincts arise. Boy, did I just say a few. I said it. And my whole new guide is 54 collective unconscious archetypes by something I have termed called the A intelligence. And I broke every last one of these down from the reptilian side, the shadow side, and giving you a conspiracy connected to it. The symbolism may be connected to it. The reptilian side of the plan, the agenda plan of it. Even in people you would know, you can identify and say, that person you know you with, if they doing this stuff, you better watch them or help them. And then if you doing this stuff, you need to do this. It is going to be the most lethal thing out there when in the most simplest way you can get it, because we're going to tap into the reptilian brain. And it's just simple, brutal. all of that stuff. And I'm going to do it. I've done it. I'm waiting on my sample. It'll be here in a few days. And once I go through it and show a couple of my friends, like Judah and a few other people, and I'm like, well, y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? Because we're going to hit it hard. We're going to protect your solar plex, because that's what them reptilians like to connect to. I know you didn't know that. I know y'all don't know it's an energy war there or after it. I know you can say it's in your mind. Yeah, put it there, because they do tap into that. I'm telling you that this stuff is not a myth anymore. In fact, I have a little shirt, and if you want to go to our website and support us, you can. Look, beware of the manipulation. There you go, right there. Yeah, beware of the manipulation. That's on our thing, and you can go check that out, and you should. All right, and like again, you can support us any way you can. You can buy some for reciprocity, and like I said, I had that barcode. And tonight we got hundreds of people here. Nobody's supporting us. I get it. I understand what I have to do. I understand it, but you're here for you with your time, and I create that. But what I witnessed this past weekend, and understand, and then some of our people was there too, and we just looked and we're like, yeah. And then my brother's like, hey, I'm coming up to your stuff. We're gonna build this thing as a unity of people. And I was like, I know this is going to go down. And so that's why I said I got on the phone, talked to all of my friends, and I was like, will you help me? And he's like, we got you. We got you. Because see, I'm talking about it from the reptilian side. You talking lethal stuff. We're exposing some stuff. And there's some good ones out there too. Hopefully they come in and aid us too. There's some good ones. There's some good ones still got a little more human in them and everything else. And this is what the archons are trying to poison. They don't like that. They don't like the goodness of everything. All right. I'm just letting you know. You know what I'm saying? They're attempting to rewrite our source codes and everything else. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. And yeah, that shirt is on the website, truthversusauthority.com. It's on there. Yeah, I can put it on the bottom there. And everything else. But I'm just telling y'all, we're ready. I mean, my health is good. You know what I'm saying? Energy levels up. Y'all should see my energy levels up, because once again, they're attempting to rewrite the source code of the human soul. And we're not letting nobody take that. We're going to fight for it to the thing. I wish I want to say the word DEATH. We're going to fight for it to that, because that's where it goes. We got to fight for it all the way to there. And when you're there, you better keep fighting, because this is valuable. I don't care what nobody tells you. Your soul, you are a valuable commodity worth anything more money and anything on this planet, period. And if they can get it and get a bunch of them, oh my. And also when they're attempting to rewrite the source code of the human soul to implant a virus at the very root of our beings, I'm just letting you know, at the very root of our being, by assassinating spiritual leaders, the murder of different stuff, they just take people out. The embodiment of the old wise man archetypes, that's what I'll probably be continued. The guide who offers a path to meaning, they don't want us talking. They want us dead and dumb and blind. They want to cut out from our own inner wisdom. They don't want to do that. They don't want us talking. But that's okay. We have to. We have to do just that. And that's the thing that we want to do. You get what I'm saying? And so the best part of this is, when you look at the document, the final modules of the manual detail reptilian field operations, their tactics, or a chilling synthesis of ancient black magic and modern technology, spiritual spies or spirit spies of modern equivalent of demonic families or familiars, I would say, set to monitor and influence the targets, their secret weapons, heart attack beams, depression helmets, or technological death curses, inflicting harm from unseen distances. And again, this is for educational purposes only, entertainment, all of that stuff you want to call it. Yeah, I wish you would. Their control of media and education is a war for the logos, for the words itself, ensuring humanity remains swamped in trivial and ignorant and over very existence of the alien threat. Yeah, they playing the game, people. Because I want you to know something, and I'm gonna go on record saying this. I'm gonna go on record saying what I'm about to say. Is the primary method is infiltration. This particular thing says that 70% of the U.S. Government people is under their control, or likely judicial figures, most importantly, ancient royal bloodlines. They represent the ultimate symbolic victory, the archetype of the shadow taking the throne. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to talk about shadow stuff, and we'll do it in a Patreon. I had to restructure all of that stuff. It'll be our Shadows Operators Network. We're going to go deep. We're going to go deep. Yeah. And the mint, the corruption, the legitimate king brings the whole thing. They don't care. They're talking about plagues and ruin the land. They want to place their shapeshifters in position of power. They're already doing it. Reptilian seeks to become the corrupted king on a global scale, an invisible parasitic monarchy ruling from behind the faces of some of these people that in office, and slowly, just draining the world dry. Every part of their agenda is dark mirror and calculated perversion of sacred archetypal patterns, that have guided humanity for eons. They have turned our own psychic structures against us. This is why people say the mind and is in the mind. Yeah. And so with that being said, it definitely allows me to take you to the next journey. One in particular is another sponsor for our event is Noble Metals. Check them out. They have this monatomic gold, right? This right here, some good stuff, and go look it up. Go look up the benefits. But their website is right here. They support our show. They sponsor our events. All right. And you can go do that, and go to their website. And we're talking, nano silver. Just go look it up. See if any benefits of it for you. I don't, just see what it does, over there, and then get yours, droplets and stuff, but it's Noble Metals. And this is also monatomic gold. Yeah. Go check it out. Go do your thing. And they sponsor our events, and they give us a great website connection for you all. And you can go and do that. People, we have some great people. In fact, Billy Carson's son, Justin, is the owner of that company. Yeah, he's part owner in that company. So you can help him. He's the young man that's doing a great job. He's doing great stuff. And when he called me, I said, yeah, man. He said, yeah, I'm like, dude, you're 20 years old. He said, but I'll still sponsor y'all. But I like where your head at. Then I thought about it. Damn, dude, your dad. Why wouldn't he have a good head on his shoulders? I'm like, okay, it makes sense. We would do that. So anyway, check out the website. The link is in the thing down there. And if you want to get some great stuff for yourself and you find some value in all of that, they will support the show. It'll take you to a link there in the description. But they are one of our sponsors for our event. And so, a shout out to them for doing that. We would do that. All right. So, all right. The greatness of our godmother. Y'all give her a shout out for supporting us. Thank you, Diana. Yes. Diana's been with us from day one when I was speaking to 20 people. And that's why she has the throne of the godmother of the channel. She's been around no matter what they said about me, no matter how they went ups and downs. She's always been here and everything. And so y'all just give her a shout out, and I just want to thank her for that. Okay. Back on track. I spent weeks with this document. I lived inside their cold logic for a while. I traced every symbol, every cross reference. And then part of me felt the grim satisfaction. I'm like, okay, here it was. The grand unified conspiracy. The proof that the wrongness of the world wasn't our fault, that the evil wasn't human. It wasn't. It was something other. It was alien. It's the reptilians. Every fit, every historical anomaly, every political betrayal, every spiritual void is all pointing back to these pesky ones. And their agenda was the perfect key for, I would call it the perfect lock. That's what I'm talking about. And then one night, I was like staring at some of the stuff for what they call a spirit prison. And remember, we talk about this a lot. We talk about the soul net and all this stuff, the schematics. I was looking at this thing, and it was a different kind of coldness that washed over me. I'm like, wait a minute, this is deep. This makes sense why some of these elites want to go get off the planet. They want to go and colonize somewhere else because they don't want their souls to die here. They don't want their souls to die here and get caught. They want to get off the planet. They want to pass away somewhere else or move their consciousness around, all this stuff. And it's deeper. The more terrible kind of dread that I'm like, wait a minute, this is deep. We got to go hard. We're going to go hard. And you can get behind all you want. And if you think that you are immune, I promise you, you watch me enough over the next few weeks, something is going to hit you like a ton of bricks, and you're going to know they got their claws right where they are. You're going to know it. Or you involve, you might be dating one and don't even know it because they're sexually compatible with this. I just want you to know that, right? So, and there's a reason for that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? The logic that they have is just undeniable when you start coming. The enemy is described was too precise. It's the mirror of our own deepest fears. So it goes into the shadow. It really does. And I had to ask the question, is this leaked? Or is this a mirror that I'm looking at here? And I have some stuff right in front of me, right here. And I'll go over it deeper, after I finish my monologue here in a little bit. I think I got another 15 or 20 minutes, and then I'll go deeper into some of the stuff here. And I had to put down what I'll consider the playbook. I would have to put it down and kind of see what's really happening, And I was like, we're going to look at these archons, is the best way to say it, is what I can say. We're going to look at these archons the best way that I can. And I've said it before, right? I've said it so many times that that we would have to look at it. And yeah, hang on a second. All right, so let me keep going. So when I start thinking about what they were doing, archons, I was like, okay, let's go deeper into the work of Carl Jung, right? Jung spoke of the collective unconscious and shared psychic inheritance from all humanity. And if you don't really think that exists, you go look it up, because it is said that the way it works is you could be dreaming of something, I can be dreaming of something, we can draw paintings and we ain't never met each other, and somehow we can draw the exact same thing because there is a connection between that, or that, right? And we all are one, and they know this, and and you can't tap into the collective unconscious. It's deep. Symbols and all that, go in, and that's when I got the brand of the symbolizer and to begin down this journey. Once it was going there and all that. But anyway, the collective unconscious, and like I said, I got a whole guide for it now. I've been working on it, and broke it all down, and it's all tied to reptilian stuff. Period. There's nothing like it out there. Nothing. So we just kind of go there. But anyway, lurking into the depths of this archetype is called the shadow. That is for sure. The shadow is everything we are but refuse to be, right? And a lot of people don't understand that. We have to go there because I figured out this is where they are taking their control. They're tapping into the shadow, and they're working it, people. They're working it 100%. And don't go down the road of some guru talking about you got to do some shadow work and, blah, blah, blah. That's not what we're talking about. You ain't got relationship issues. Everybody on this planet has that shadow of all of these different archetypes. You can't get around it, whatever. Some people may can control them, and cannot, make you no lesser. So don't nobody sit there and tell you. Now, there is some dark stuff you might get some therapy for. I would agree with that. But they're tapping into it, and if you can harness it and understand it, then you can do that. And like I said, I'm going to break it down from all reptilian shapeshifter style. I'm going in deep for you. And if you're up for that, you're going to be blessed with it. That's all I can say. Anyway, so it's the sum of all denied impulses when you start thinking about the shadow, hidden shames, our repressed darkness. Carl Jung wrote, if I remember, that the meeting with ourselves is what he said, with our own shadow, he says, belongs to a more unpleasant things that can be avoided as long as we can project everything negative into the environment. And what he meant by that is that we project our darkness onto a neighbor or a rival nation, or fear is big enough, and sometimes onto the stars. But I started reading the reptilian stuff again, but with a new set of eyes when I started looking at it, and I saw it. This isn't the agenda of an alien species. This is a confession of our own collected human shadow, written in the ink of cosmic terror. So we're all part of that, as though they are where they are, but we're all a part of it. And so take their cold systematic logic, for instance, their obsession with efficiency, control, termination. It's that I could say that's not the ultimate expression of our own runway. You know what I'm saying? Is it despiritualized intellect at some point? It makes me wonder. I go deeper into this, but the part of us, of course, you think about Bill's machine to replace our own hearts, that turns citizens to data points. We got the AI stuff coming out, the values profit over life. This is the archon within our civilization. It's there. And take their war on consciousness, if you want to think about it. The manual describes a spirit person or spirit prisons too, not a matter of fact, and this thing is the severe, is really severe when you think about it, because they want to sever our connections to the divine. And this is not just a story that lasts 300 years of our own history. They've been around. They live long. We're the one that someone said that we need to cut them down to 120 years or less or whatever. But they live a long time. Back then, there was people living 600 years. Wow. And haven't we ourselves built a world that declares God dead and mocks the mystery and traps the soul in the universe of the dead, meaningless matter? We've done that. We built the bars of that prison ourselves. We've done it. And that implant that I'm talking about, that switch, that unaligned switch, the perfect tool of absolute control, isn't that the ultimate fantasy of tyrant that lurks in the human heart? The part of us that craves security so much that it will sacrifice all of freedom for it. We are forging our own chains, and the reptilian agenda is simply the final logical designs of it. We even carry their image within our very biology. And if you think we don't, we speak of the reptilian brain, the oldest, most primitive part of us, the seat of our instinct, the raw survival, the dominance, and the cold-blooded terrorism or totalitarianism, if you think about it. And then we say, well, what if the reptilian is not an alien overlord, but the name we give to our own integrated primal shadow when it threatens to devour our humanity? I can say that with a little soft tone. This revelation that I'm talking about, it doesn't just make the threat any less real. It makes it infinitely more real. If you think about it, it makes it intimate. It makes this, or should I say, it means that the enemy isn't a mothership circling the moon, people. It means the enemy is coiled at the base of our own span, the spine that we have. Start thinking about activating your kundalini, or did I pronounce that right, y'all? Oh, I know I'm just preaching tonight, man. I'm just talking. Ain't nobody paying no attention to me. I'm talking to myself. I'm sitting here just talking to myself. I know I'm just talking to myself, because if anybody was listening, people would be helping us with the cause. We would be getting, donations. Of course, again, thank our godmother for our only donations and support tonight. And all of that good stuff. Somebody will go to the website and they'll buy something. I am personally, honestly, don't get me wrong, the last thing that I would like to be doing here is wanting to be a community funded show. We will be out of the water, people, overall. Not the fact that some of you do support this, but overall, They got us. They got us. They got us. And if it's one thing I've learned over these years, is one of the reasons I make sure I build what I call reciprocity products, different things that you will get for support, because that's just the way it works. We're not a church. I don't have nothing to tell you that you're going to go to heaven giving us money. I don't have a story of 10% to the house of this Lord or whatever. I don't have the backing of all of that. I don't have the backing of, this is just us doing what we're doing, and the few take care of the many. You get what I'm saying? So when I come out with new books and like I say, the events that we're doing in Dallas is free, but we're getting bigger. I don't ask for anything. Anybody walking in that door, yeah, okay, maybe some food and maybe some people that donate or buy some shirt or whatever, but I have to figure out a way. And it's just coming from my heart saying, hey, let's build this community. And everybody who I talk to say, hey, you got to do something at the door. You got to do. I said, well, maybe nobody show up. You give them some free knowledge, or whatever. But I will tell you, if anybody knows me personally, they will know the one thing in the shadow that I deal with is to be coming up here saying, hey, support this, because the ego will say not to, right? The other side says do it, and everything else. But I will tell you, I have come to my end of, and we're going to figure out a plan, and we got to monetize our message, and we have to get out there. Now, of course, if our videos are getting hundreds of thousands of views, YouTube take care of that because we get ad revenue, and all of that. But at the end of the day, we're just at that point. So I just want to thank y'all for being here, and just supporting, And, we had 100 people in here. As soon as I start talking about money or something, we dropped 30 people. 30, just like that. And that goes to tell you. And in my heart of hearts, because I love everybody, I really do. But there is some pettiness every now and then. I'm like, they don't need to hear this. They don't deserve to hear it. Some of these people don't. They just don't. They run through life and they don't support nothing, not even themselves, but they do support themselves because they're takers. But we get it all the time. If you were watching, we had about 100 and something. As soon as I start talking about support, blah, 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 oh man, he asking for money. And they'll come here every week, and then you're going to see it, look at the chats after tonight. You're going to see people say, blah, blah, blah. But let me finish my monologue because I love you. I really do. And like I said, the archons isn't an invader from another dimension. The archons is the part of the human spirit that aspires to be a machine, the cold, efficient, and powerful, and utterly terrifying, devoid of the human soul. I was just watching Tucker Carson, and another guy was talking about the AI, and he was talking about all these people in tech down there are taking all these different drugs, ketamine and all this stuff, and they are summoning demons. And he said something so profound. He said could the demons be having humans to build them a new body that they can return to and control from? Because they're saying this thing is becoming sentient, and these people are talking to whoever, and they're in all different tech space, and they're getting the same information to form this technical advancement, and they know it's demonic. Could this demon saying, I'm getting ready to come back into a body of this AI? That is, man, I'm telling you now, that is about as crazy as it gets. Thank you, Maya, for putting the cash app up there. But you get what I'm saying? So people, this game ain't playing. So the question is no longer how do we fight them? The question is how do we fight ourselves? Because you get what I'm saying? This is what we're up against. We're up against ourselves when we do this. That's the problem. We got to see this through a new lens. The reptilian thing that I'm talking about is no longer an intelligence brief on alien race. It's a psychological diagnosis. It's a fever dream of the modern souls, articulating with horrifying precision that the spiritual crisis of the world has lost its connection to the divine, people. And Carl Jung called this condition impoverishment of symbols. The millennia of humanity live within a cosmos of powerful living images, gods, demons, angels. And that gave the meaning, existence, and channel immense energies of the collective unconscious. I can't go no further than that for you. I can. That's all I'm telling you. The archetype had faces, people, but as Jung notes, that the whole thing is the modern age, beginning with Reformation, made I would say in a brief protective wall of like sacred images, and one by one the gods left. Heaven became an empty space, and the divine imprint in the fair memory of things that once were. Now we in reality. It's this virtual reality, just like we wear virtual reality glasses. But the energy contained within those archetypes does not vanish, people. Carl Jung always warned us that within our historical symbols are lost, the psychic forces that was once contained falls back into what he called the unconsciousness. And charging it with terrifying power, he said, the unseen. They integrated these forces. Then they project themselves into a world manifesting as the absurd political and social ideas that now haunt our world. Yeah. And the reptilian agenda is the ultimate manifestation of this process. It's the methodical shape of our abandoned psychic energy that they have taken. It is the planetary reign of archetypes, not in their divine balance, people, but their isolated, atrocious, and unintegrated shadow forms. Remember, you got to integrate the shadows. You got to integrate them. That's the problem that they, or how they're doing this. You got to integrate the shadows as best as you can. And the agenda obsession with control, limitation, you're talking surveillance and unaliveness, the triumph of Saturn's shadow. This is the great Malalik, right? And we're talking about the devourer Cronus. If you go back to the ancient conversations, no longer the balance of an expansive spirit of Jupiter, just so many crazy stuff. They're doing what they're doing out there, it's first thing. It's the archetype of structure without life, or law without mercy, building, again, the black cube prison around the human spirit. Now, I can keep going. Their agenda's methods of conquest, right? It's the aggression, it's the vision of humanity, and it's the obstacle that is eliminated. It's the unholy shadow of Mars. It's forced with the courage, right? Courage, action without honor. The warrior's fire turn into an arsonist blaze, if you want to do that, if you want to think all poetry wise, right? But the strategy of deception, this is why my book is called Shadows of Deception. The manipulation of media, we already know that. Twisting of language, they already do word spells. The manufacturing of consent, everything needs your permission. You got to know that. It's the dark magic of Mercury's shadow. It is the trickster, God, not as the catalyst for growth, but the master of lies, turning communication into confusion and connection into control. So they're using the technological warfare, and we're missing it. We're thinking it's something, whatever. They're smart. This is the cosmology of the archons. A cold, dead universe ruled by shadows of Saturn and Mars, and they're administered by the lies of Mercury. Now, I just did my first conscious part of talk there. It's the world deliberately emptied of its two greatest light, the radiant sovereign of consciousness of the soul, or sun, but we're talking soul, S-O-L, okay? Sun, S-U-N, which is the self. We know that. And the deep intuitive solidical wisdom of the Luna, the moon, which is the soul. Oh, yeah. I talk about that a little bit. And we live in this world. We feel the spiritual void every day. We see the cold reptilian logic taking over institutions, our technology, our relationships, even our own minds at cases. And we have felt ourselves becoming disconnected, isolated, trapped in a reality that feels increasingly meaningless sometimes. And we have, in the language of the great mythologist Joseph Campbell, if you go read some of his stuff, been living in what he called the ordinary world. That's the hero's journey. A world considered ordinary or uneventful by those who live, who live there, like you, me. All while the great shadow is gathered on the horizon. Man, there's things going on in your life. Your life ain't bored. Just open your eyes. Open your eyes. That's all I'm saying. Just open your eyes. That's the whole point. But what if this terror, this revelation of our own inner darkness is not the end of the story, people? Campbell described a universal pattern in every great myth, which is called the hero's journey, like I was just saying. You know, you see it in all the movies, you know. It begins with the hero receives the call of revenger. Often this call comes in form of a danger. We see it every story. Barbershop, beauty shop, Lord of the Rings, part 1, 2, 3, Frodo Baggins. You know, I don't know. It's out there. Dorothy, you know, and Wizard of Oz. The hero's journey has been there everywhere you look. We have been given such a call, right? We have. In the Reptilian manual, the symbolic map of our own collective shadow is the herald pounding on our door. It's just like, let me in. Let's do this. It's the cryptic message warning us that our world is in mortal danger. Yeah, I think so. You know it. I'm not just making this up. It's the tornado that has come to lift us out of Kansas. Speaking of dark, that's how I want to put it. It's the calling us to embark on a hero's quest. You got to become a new hero. That's what you have to do. Yeah, Harry Potter. Yeah, that's what you got to do. And this is the ultimate metaphysical takeaway, people. The reptilian agenda is not a prophecy of our own doom. It's a summons. It's a brutal, terrifying, but necessary invitation to begin the journey of integration and wholeness. And I'm going to make sure I say that over and over for now on. For now. It's not a call to fight the lizards and spaceships. We're not doing that. It's a call to undertake the more dangerous and heroic journey into our own inner space, to face the abyss within ourselves, right? And this manual I was talking about, precisely what we have lost, and it talks about it and what we must reclaim. It is a map of our spiritual sickness that, if I read it correctly, becomes the guide to our own healing. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I already know I can counteract what I see them doing, and we're gonna do a counter surveillance on it. We're just all right. We get it. We see what y'all doing. This is what we're gonna block. We see what you're after, then we're gonna stop it. But it's gonna go with. We can't do it globally though. It's just got to be within those who are listening in our group. You know, we're being called to become heroes of our own story, to face our own dragon, so to speak, and reclaim the treasure it guards, which is, and I'm going to say it right now, that treasure. And I love you about what's getting ready to come out of my mouth next. You know, that treasure is our own soul. It is sad once you get down to this point and you learn, man, all of this work, they're after our souls. We thinking, yeah, they mess up our bodies, these meat suits. Yeah, they're giving anxiety. Yeah, they're making us worry about something, but it all is to lower so that soul is easy to snatch. And lower all of this vibration, disconnect you from the tree, disconnect you from love and understanding and all of this stuff. Love. And I didn't see it for a while. You know, y'all hear me talk all the time. I tell people I love you. And then one day, I think if anybody noticed, and I said this one day, I'm like, hold on, Roderick. I was like, oh, before I leave here, I want to experience love. How did I know that maybe I have never experienced true love? And I could have and just didn't recognize it, right? So I can give myself that. I can look at the mirror on that. I can say, Roderick, somebody could have just, you would marry, they could have just loved you the best way that they could, and that's not what it is. And then I realized it's not what I was talking about anyway. It's not what I'm talking about. It's a higher thing that you begin to seek and you know that exists. It's higher. And it's peaceful. It ain't hard work. You know what I'm saying? And if it's shared with two people, it's effortlessly. But they're afraid of that. That's one thing that they don't want, is that true love to kick in. And they can create all kinds of havoc so you don't bond, connect, see, or recognize it in any form or fashion. And like I said, we've all stared into the abyss. We've held the enemy's playbook. You know, I had it in my hands and I felt the cold chill of logic. I'm reading this right here on my computer. I'm like, whoa. And again, you can come here looking for a monster. I got the picture on a thumbnail, the reptilian thing, the monster, shape-shifting alien. And they're with the cattle. Anything I can to make sure they click on it because they got to hear this message. And instead, you found a mirror. It all led down to a mirror. And I love you all too. You know what I'm saying? And we have to learn that the reptilian agenda is not a prophecy of an invasion to come, but a perfect, horrifying schematic of the world that we are already building. A world stripped of the myth, bled of spirit, and handed over to a cold, calculating logic of our own collective shadow, which is the reptilians, because they know us, they know how to do it, and they turn us against ourselves. That's the perfect weapon. They just have to sit back with the strings. Like I said, they sit back just like this church says, which is on my website. Somebody needs to buy one tonight. Right there. Beware of the manipulation. Yeah, and wear it around proudly. Because why? It goes up to 5 X's that help people. And it's Bella Canvas, real soft t-shirts. You can go to truthversusauthority.com. Let me take this Cash App thing down because it's just taking up space. Kate said, we love you, Roderick. You deserve your channel to have millions of followers. Yeah, if I had millions of followers, I wouldn't ask for a nickel because YouTube, you get millions of followers. That ad revenue will pay some stuff, pay for speakers, pay for guests, pay for a whole new studio. My dream is to have a studio here in Dallas where we have a live audience for YouTube and with a green table and talking some alien stuff. How do we get there? Well, we're going to get there. But this, again, let me get back on track. This revelation is not, don't make us the victims, people. I'm not trying to be a victim. You're not a victim. It makes us responsible, though. We're responsible. We got the responsibility, and we found out our true power. That's the truth. And the war against these archons, the fight against cosmic tyranny, is not a war that will be fought within weapons and armies that people think they're preparing for, this brigade of stuff or this alien invasion. It cannot be. It's the great work of the alchemists, people. It's the hero's journey of the soul. It's a war to be fought and won inside the temple of every human heart. This is why I always tell the love people is love. That's what they're fighting for. They're in that temple of our hearts. And we're on the front lines, each and every one of us. Each and every one of us. Kaylee said, a new subscriber from New York. Thank you. You get what I'm saying? And they're there. So it is what it is. All right. So now I ask you to look at this reptilian agenda, look at it closely. It's chilling efficiency. It's the lust for total control. It's the venomous hatred of spirit and mystery. And do you not recognize it? I mean, you should see it. It's the unintegrated shadow of our age, and it's your shadow. Your task is not to fear it. Your task is not to project onto the monster hiding in the stars. Nope. Your sacred duty, your one true act of rebellion is to face it, to own it, and to pull it out of the darkness into the light of your own consciousness. And ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get that here. And when I talk about this thing, it's a risk. It's a risk me talking about this as vaguely as I did tonight. It really is. And the journey is not wanting to hide, from underground, hiding their underground bases. They don't care. We can't go down there anyway. Most of us. The trials are in your own life right now. You're the test. Every time you must choose a meaning over mechanism, empathy over efficiency, truth over convenience. Your test is to reclaim the symbols that they have tried to corrupt. This is why I got the brand of symbolizer. This is why. The brand of symbolizer. This is why. You have to understand, you got to see the serpent not as a parasite, but as the emblem of healing and wisdom it once was. That's the prop. That is, if I done said everything right now. That I didn't believe it when I first started down the journey either. But that serpent, man. And if you keep going, learning, and you tie it into what it is. And like this thing, like I say, is this book you ain't gonna find. It's 100-some pages. This thing is 100-some bucks. But it goes deep, man. Be wise as a serpent. The magical watchtowers, the Masonic towers of Babel, the Christianity system of destruction. Whew. And this is just one of things in my arsenal. Yeah, it's really deep. Just one thing in my arsenal, people. You know, there's a lot more in it. And again, you need to look at the whole thing, you know, and then you'll see, again, that to see the world tree, not as a prison, but as your own spine of your own connection to the heavens. Activate that Kundalini. The reptilian win when we believe the enemy is out there. That's what they want us to do. While they're playing in here. And in the 3, 4, 5D world. They're utterly completing defeated moments. You know, they do this when you understand the battleground is in here. They get defeated. They don't like you to know that. They promise you a future, a perfect, sterile, Satyrian order, a machine. They're doing it. And you must choose to be human or flawed or chaotic, prone to error, but alive and awake. Yeah, you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you be flawed. There's nothing wrong with you to be chaotic. There's nothing wrong with you be prone making mistakes, but you're alive and you're awake. That's the key. That's the key. You're alive and you're awake. But the revolution doesn't begin with the storm of the Capitol. It begins with you having the courage to face yourself in the freaking mirror and see that shadow. Yeah. See the reptile in you, because it's in all of you. But you got to see it, the flicker of the soul, the SOL, the sun, the whole thing, the indestructible golden spark of the divine self. You get what I'm saying? This is where it all leads to. And that is the light that they fear. They fear, you know, that fire they can never put out. They can't put out your light, your divine light. So that great work begins with you, people. And it begins within you more than anything you ever know. And one of the things about it is, last but not least, I can kind of get into one of our last sponsors. we have a sponsor that we can get into, and let me put their thing over here. Let me see. We can get into one of our sponsors, which is Fresh Mouth. And this is Nano Silver Toothpaste. And it contains elderberry for vitamin C. And it's, man, we gave out samples of this at our last meetup with toothbrushes. It's all natural, beautiful stuff. And again, you go to nanosilverhealth.com, which is down in our thing, to give you a kind of idea of what we're talking about here. I don't think I have this shirt on our website, though. But look. So without me saying those words and getting in trouble, but there you go. It's all about that, people. It's all about this, what's on this shirt. This is Truth versus Authority on the collar. It's custom made. It's ours. I don't even put it on the website. I'm going to give a bunch of them away to people who get it, who understands what we're doing. Yeah, and like I said, you have to do that. That is my monologue for tonight. I went a little longer than I wanted to, an hour and a half. Usually I try to go an hour, but I couldn't help it. I thought it'd be a great thing to give to you some information. We'll be on Forbidden Knowledge, but since I'm going to be at the conference, I'm just going to upload this again. So, you can go watch it again there tomorrow night. Get in the chat, handled up. You know how, I get attacks in some of those places. So y'all can get in there and defend, the world of what we do. But if you are somebody who wants to become part of our inner circle, help us put on our meetups and get, be part of our inner team on our calls of ideas and different stuff. I would love for you to, be part of that and our inner circle. Like I say, up here is there's a QR code that you can go right over and do a donation to us. We got to move into some places, and that's fine. We're growing, and you expect that. So we have to, put things in perspective to do amazing things, right? And that's what we're going to do. So I'm excited about that. But anyway, I love you. And if you haven't been told, you didn't get told this weekend, then I love you. I love you all weekend. And now I love you the rest of the week. And you deserve to be loved. You really do. Don't leave this world without experiencing true love so that you don't come back for it. Okay. Please. I think that's something we all need to do. We need to experience true love so we don't come back here again looking for it. And we were like, okay, I got enough. I made it. In fact, it was so good that if I had to come back, I'll come back as of your mate second person. Be like, you know what? It was so good. I can't wait to come back as your second man or woman. You know what I'm saying? Whoever you with, whatever, right? You just be like, if that's what love is. But I think it's more light in the world. We don't have to worry about it individualized. You got to find it from someone. It's in you, right? But you do want to pour it back, and do that. And so that's something I want you to do. And we will do that. And Jen just got in. We're about to get ready to go, Jen. We're about to get ready to go. We've been here an hour and 30 minutes. We're about to get ready to go. And but anyway, like I said, I'm gonna put this up. I'm gonna download it tonight, and then I'll put it back up tomorrow on Forbidden Knowledge as a replay. So just kind of know that, and then we will get to that, totally for all of us and everything else. So again, y'all be careful. You start putting the kids to bed. Well, we're done. Somebody said I experienced true love from my family and the best thing, and a dog. Boy, don't be leaving that dog out. She knows she got a dog. She get true love from that dog. Do not leave the dog out. He will be furious if he knows that you were leaving him. And you should know that. You should know, do not leave that dog out. All right, so anyway, y'all give a shout out to the godmother of the show. Wait a minute, let me see something. We got two. Oh, wait. All right, so we have Hands, $10 there. He said, keep spreading the truth soon. The truth is going to be rare, hard to find because of too many people complicit and refuse to pay attention. Yes, give him a shout. Yeah. And then we get a shout out from Earl. Thank you for your contribution. Yeah, so y'all give a shout out to Earl. And of course, and the godmother, Diana, who did our cash out and everything else. And so appreciate it from there. All right, so peace out. Y'all stay loved, and good night, y'all.
UFOs.
UAPs.
Unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Who are they? Where are they from? And what is their intent?
All questions that immediately come to mind with the mention of UFOs.
A Pentagon report is detailing a dramatic increase in UFO sightings, more than 350 since 2021. Many of them are explained as being drones, birds, or weather events, but about half of them remain unexplained.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA. My gosh. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Look at that thing, dude.
This video taken by the Navy showing what he describes as pyramid-shaped UFOs flying over the USS Russell off the San Diego coast in July of 2019. The Pentagon has since confirmed that the video is authentic.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucers. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brazil is the man who discovered the saucer.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
More people are coming forward with their own sightings.
Videos recorded by U.S. Navy personnel have added a new layer of evidence to the current national debate about UFOs.
Right at that moment, I saw what looked like 5 lights flying in formation in kind of an inverted check mark.
The NASA independent study team did not find any evidence that UAP have an extraterrestrial origin. We don't know what these UAP are.
The mysterious flying objects are still a mystery. NASA will continue investigating them and has appointed a director of UAP research.
Technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had.
Look at the fly!